Good morning, and welcome to Payroll Today with Ahola. This new webinar series will cover trends and topics that affects the entire payroll space when they happen, with the intention that all of our viewers are better educated. We thank you for the time and taking the time to learn with us. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you that we are not attorneys. This session is intended for educational and informational purposes only. We do hope that you find these presentations helpful and informative, but the information presented today should not in any way be constructed as legal advice. As always, if you have questions about how this information may affect your business specifically, we recommend that you consult with your business advisor. My name is Oscar, and I will be the one to host the discussion today. I am the Learning and Development Department Manager for Ahola. I've proudly been with Ahola for nearly 7 years, and I bring a total of 10 years of payroll experience. Please feel free to reach out to me by emailing omahia@ahola.com with any questions you may have regarding today's discussion. I will be happy to work with you and your dedicated payroll specialist and/or sales executive to answer any questions you may have that's related to the system or services. For those of you who may not know a lot about Ahola, we are a family-owned payroll and HR service provider headquartered in Brecksville, Ohio, with 55 years of payroll, tax, and HR experience. We've served over 10,000 small businesses nationwide. Ahola offers a full range of payroll and HR services and software. Today, our payroll, staff, tax, and human resource tax professionals serve thousands of businesses by helping them with their human capital management needs. The agenda for today is as follows. We will review and discuss the new wage and deferral limits. We will break down what this means for employers and their employees. We'll also uncover other laws and policies that could affect businesses in 2024. With that, let's cover the wage limits and the changes for 2024. Now let's start at the federal level, and we're going to start off with FICA taxes. Now, FICA stands for Federal Insurance Contributions Act. These taxes account for Social Security and Medicare taxes that are deducted from employees' paychecks. Employers are also responsible for these taxes. We should not and will not block these types of taxes for any reason. The Social Security wage limit is set at $168,600. This means that the Social Security tax will stop calculating when a person has made up to that amount. And the withholding rate is set at 6.2%. Now, Medicare taxes has no wage limits, meaning that it will continue to deduct from a person's paycheck. This tax will be calculated at 1.45% up to the first $200,000 of earnings. When an employee exceeds $200,000 in wages, then that tax will increase to 2.35%. Employers will always pay at the 1.45 tax rate. For unemployment taxes, we have FUTA and SUTA. FUTA stands for Federal Unemployment Tax Act, and SUTA stands for State Unemployment Tax Act. The federal unemployment tax is set at 6% on the first $7,000 of wages per employee. This does not include any potential tax credits given to employers. SUTA operates a little differently. The SUTA tax rate will vary by state. Each state will have a set wage base to calculate the tax on, but the actual rate depends on a number of factors. Normally, this rate is provided to each employer by mail. Most of us should have received that information by now. But as soon as you do, please submit that information to your provider because again, each SUTA rate is individually assigned to each employer. The American Payroll Association has charts of the taxable wage basis for each state. So if you go to https://pages.americanpayroll.org, taxable wage base, you can see this information in detail. Now we'll go over minimum wage because the minimum wage amounts have also changed for 2024. So the federal minimum wage for this year is set at $7.25 per hour. The federal minimum wage for tipped employees is set at $2.13 per hour. Now keep in mind that each state has its own wage limit for tipped employees. Per the Department of Labor, we need to provide employees the rate that is generally more beneficial to the employee. Now, with that said, let's look at state minimum wages. We did include Michigan and Pennsylvania since we at Ahola have a large client base in these states. So the minimum wage for Ohio is set at $10.45. The minimum wage for Michigan is set at $10.33, and the minimum wage for Pennsylvania is set at $7.25. We do, however, service companies all over the country. There may be some caveats to the wages set for each state. So for details, please be sure to go to the Department of Labor site, dol.gov, for more details. (2024) deferral limits. Deferral limits refers to deferred compensation or any retirement plan that we invest in. So when we talk about deferral limits, we are referring or talking about the amount a person can contribute to their retirement plan for 2024. For those with a 401k, 403b, or 457 plan, we can contribute up to $23,000 for the year. If you are 50 years or older, you are allowed a catch-up amount, an opportunity to contribute an additional $7,500 for the year. Deferred compensation plans and medical insurance plans are determined by the employer. Therefore, rates and plans offered to employees are unique. Please refer to your employer for more information as far as what is being offered to you. For those with a simple 401k or an IRA plan, you are able to contribute up to $16,000 with a potential catch-up of $3,500. Now for HSA, an HSA is a health savings account. An HSA generally becomes available for those who elect in a high deductible medical insurance plan. A general benefits tip: you cannot have an HSA if you have elected in a Section 125 medical plan. The limits for having an HSA is set at $4,150 with a $1,000 catch-up. This is only if you have elected in a self-plan. For those that have a family high deductible medical plan, you can save up to $8,300 with a $1,000 catch-up. In addition to new wage and deferral limits taking place, we wanted to list recently passed laws or policies that can potentially affect how we do business. As pertinent laws are passed, we will be sure to get the information out as soon as possible. Listed here, there are just a few laws that have taken effect, making sure that we're all aware of the constantly moving space. First, we have the Secure Act 2.0. The Secure Act 2.0 isn't exactly new, but we know this is a law that needs to be widely known. This originally was a law that offered tax credits to companies that have no deferred compensation plans in place, along with some adjusted rules to make plans easier to manage. This new bill adds over 90 provisions that will take effect within the next couple of years. But the main benefit is that the Secure Act 2.0 offers a tax credit for eligible plans up to 100% of the administrative or startup costs, and up to $5,000 per year for the first 3 years that the plans are set up. This is definitely a law that companies can take advantage of. More and more employers can now offer retirement plans to their staff. We then have the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act. This law is a little more than 6 months old, and this law ensures that those experiencing pregnancy, childbirth, or related medical conditions have certain additional protections related to their status, which can allow them to remain employed. The Department of Labor enacted a final rule that will be effective on March of 2024. This is the independent contractors test. This is a checklist that can help determine if an employee can actually be hired as an independent contractor, or do they need to receive W-2 earnings. This checklist goes over certain conditions and parameters and situations to determine if that independent contractor is actually a contractor. Now, this is not part of the standard wage and deferral limits, but the mileage reimbursement rate has also increased for 2024. The new rate is set at 67 cents per mile driven for business purposes. It's very important to know if you're in the trucking industry, you're managing any dispatches, or if you have workers doing any work outside in the field. One of the more controversial laws in the business world for Ohio specifically is the recreational use for cannabis. Though its use is legal in Ohio, it is still illegal on the federal level. The law currently does not impact or impose requirements or restriction on employers with respects to terms and conditions of employment. Again, this is a general overview of laws and policies that can affect us as employers and business owners. Details can be found in various websites like the Department of Labor. I implore that proper research is done prior to updating policies related to some of these changes. Ahola does offer excellent resources for those that utilize our services. So, compliance resources for Ahola clients. Ahola clients have access to an HR database which can allow users to gain insight on laws, trends, insight, document templates, and even training articles. Powered by Mineral, our HR support center can help keep you in compliance and up to date with all of the changes that happen throughout the year. For our partners, the link can be found in iSolved within the client landing page as soon as you log in. That is the screen that you will see when you first access the system as a client user. And the link to the support site can be found within the quick links section of that screen. Please reach out if you are a current partner of Ahola and you do not have access to this site. The Ahola website is also another amazing resource that you can take advantage of. Our website provides access to payroll and tax calculators. Visiting www.ahola.com will also provide everyone access to our recorded webinar sessions. So if you missed any, you can catch up on our educational content through our site. To join and register for future webinars, please go to info.ahola.com/webinars and please sign up. We're also posting future events on social media, so you can find more information by following us. And here's the site provided here. Again, thank you for taking the time to sit with us and discussing and making aware the different changes to wages and deferral limits. Again, my name is Oscar, and if you have any questions about any of the material that has been presented today, please feel free to reach out to me by emailing omejia@ahola.com. Thank you for your time, everyone, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.